EGM Network.
Treasure Coast Connector. Connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras. This episode is partially sponsored by Libby Weissman and her team at SeniorTransitionNavigator.com and LuxuryHomesOfTheTreasureCoast.com. So Libby works with seniors and their families, helping them to make decisions on how to lead their best lives in their golden years. So now there are services that she offers, like downsizing, decluttering, packing, moving, relocation, real estate sales, and more. For a free consultation, give Libby a call at 772-783-2800 or visit SeniorTransitionNavigator.com and LuxuryHomesOfTheTreasureCoast.com. So now money affects every area of our lives. You know, if we have businesses, with our families, stress levels, and even our sleep. When it comes to taxes and debt, many people feel confused, intimidated. They're not sure where to turn. So joining me in the studio today is Gregory Simpson, and he is the founder of Tax Haven USA. And his team, they specialize in tax preparation, IRS representation, and debt resolution. They work with individuals and businesses to find real solutions, not just temporary fixes. So he has a lot to share today about what we need to know about taxes, debt relief options, and smart financial strategies so we can move forward with confidence instead of fear. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Ellen. It's a pleasure to be on the show. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that intro is over. A lot of big words in there, and all of us, we seem to be, we hear about like nothing is certain in this world but death and taxes, gloom and doom, right?
Yes.
But while we could scare some people, we're not. We're going to offer hope and encouragement because you are a wealth of information. Before we start talking about the company and your team, because we have a studio audience of one. We have your beautiful wife, Sabby, here, but
yes,
she's not on camera. She just wants to observe, right? But your background and her background and Samuel's is very, impeccable. But tell us about your background and why you wanted to start this company.
Well, thank you. Absolutely. Well, I started taxes back in 2010. Ironically, I was introduced to it by my mother. Mm-hmm. And when I first did it, I was like, oh my God, this is one of the most amazing things. It's like I found my calling.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I thank my mother every day for her bringing me into this. I didn't know at the time that my grandmothers on both of my mother and my father's side went to school for accounting. Okay. And my aunts went to school for accounting, but they never finished.
Okay.
So when I went and got my bachelor's in accounting, I didn't know that. So I got my bachelor's in accounting. I got my master's in accounting with the focus in taxation. I'm an enrolled agent. I'm a former college professor. I taught accounting and taxation for 6 years at the state college level, and also was an adjunct at another state college. So I taught at two different state colleges. Yeah. One of them I was a master instructor where I did it full time. I'm an enrolled agent. So that's the highest designation that the IRS gives someone as a tax professional, where I'm able to represent individuals during audits and during cases where there's complications with their taxes and maybe disagreements between their position that they've taken and also with what the IRS would have wanted them to take.
Yeah, because with all of the rules and regulations that change year to year, the average person like myself, and I mentioned this before, we just gloss over and we get nervous, and then we're either going to make a mistake innocently, and I'm not, talking about people that purposely try to cheat, but many people, when they try to do their own taxes, they make a mistake and they don't mean to, or even worse, they leave money on the table that's really legitimately owed to them. So I say that regardless, as an individual and especially a business owner, we need you. Okay.
Yeah, well,
Somebody
we love
that
it.
lives, eats, and breathes all of this. Okay. So moving on. Okay. And I also mentioned during tax season, we feel anxious.
Yes.
Right. And so there's changing regulations. And right now there's economic uncertainty, which also makes people a little concerned. So what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see individuals and business owners make when it comes to taxes?
That's a very good question. Well, one of the main things that I see that they make, mistake they make is thinking it's very easy, right? The self-preparation software has conditioned a large population of Americans that I can do it myself. I don't need a professional. And a lot of times that becomes to their own detriment, because if you go to those softwares, you see they start to ask questions that one might not be familiar with. Like, for example, if you have a rental property, are you aware that you need to depreciate the home? Are you aware that that's mandatory by the IRS? And are you aware of allocation? You can't depreciate land. Are you aware as far as, how to properly allocate your 529 plans for your college students? You have savings, like
Sure.
what qualifies for American Opportunity Credit? What qualifies for the deduction to take the distribution out of your 529 plan and give it to the college? There's a lot of things where just on the surface level, it's like, well, how do I circumnavigate this? And I would love to have more advocates like you who says, hey, I don't want to do it on my own. Let me go as a professional.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I want. I want people who are very honest, straightforward. And with our business, we don't try to market, hey, large refund. We're going to get you the most refund. Come to us. That's not what Tax Haven USA is all about.
Yeah.
We want to provide professional, legitimate, legal services. And I tell everyone that comes to our office, you don't pay us for a refund. You pay us for proper tax preparation.
Yeah.
And the result of, you get a refund, we high five, you go and you toast with your wife or husband or spouse.
Yeah.
But if you owe, then that's where we take on our additional service, not for additional fee, but just additional value added service. So we talk about why. And I love going line by line with all my clients as far as, this is why you owe, this is the outcome. And then immediately we implement a plan to prevent that from happening in the following year
and in the future years.
Yes.
That I love, because you hear about the fact that, ideally, you really shouldn't get a huge refund. It should be maybe a small one or close to zero as possible, because you're paying what you should have. And, so you're not giving the IRS more money. You're able to keep more of your money during the year.
Yes.
So I like that a lot. Okay, very good. So now what happens when someone finds out that they have made a mistake? They get the letter from the IRS. They have back taxes. Sometimes people put their head in the sand, and then they stress out. So when they get that letter, what should they do?
First thing you should do is open the letter. Okay,
Cindy, our show producer.
Let's start off with this.
She knows people who have gotten the letter, okay?
We all know that person that got the letter.
Yeah.
Open the letter. Don't toss the letter in the trash like, I'm not opening that. It's not a ticking time bomb. It's not Mission Impossible. It's not going to detonate in 5 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Open the letter. Let's read the letter. Find out what's going on, because one thing about the IRS, they give you time. They give you time to communicate with them. There's a collection due process, a CDP, where you can actually go through and you can appeal. You can actually pretty much counter what their positions are against you. And if it's too much, you can get with a professional. Now, we understand that prices can be exorbitant dealing with CPAs and tax attorneys, but there are people who are there to help. Like for me and our family.
You and your team.
Yes, we do very modest prices. Like for individual tax returns, $250 for individual tax returns. For small businesses, not S corporations, C corporations, it's like $350. If you want representation, we do $600 for representation, and we call the IRS. We do the power of attorney. I negotiate. I get to the bottom of it. But open that letter. Let's find out what's going on. And sometimes it's not that bad. Sometimes you probably just forgot to add a form. Sometimes it was just to check the box.
It doesn't have to be you get the letter and it's the worst case scenario.
Exactly.
But that's what people immediately go to, is that worst case scenario.
Yes.
Okay. So, and then what happens with people who feel like they are like drowning in debt? Because debt relief is also something else. So
Yes.
what do you tell people with that?
So for individuals who are not in a position to pay for the mistake that they made, right? And sometimes you're a victim because it's a lot of folks don't even know what was placed on their tax return. I hear that a lot of times, like, Gregory, I don't even know what was put on there. I didn't tell them to do that. They did that. I was happy with the refund. So you find yourself...
You just signed.
Yeah, because the IRS holds you responsible. Once you sign, the liability falls on the taxpayer, not the tax preparer.
Oh, so isn't that interesting? Because I thought that I'm doing the right thing by preparing my documents and, doing my bookkeeping. I go to the tax preparer with all the things. And then if they make a mistake, but I sign it, they can't do anything about it. Like, I can't say to my tax person, you made a mistake, here, fix it.
No, it's the IRS says that you sign it. And you attest that what you have on that tax return is accurate. That's why it's so important to make sure that you're going to a professional. So when individuals find themselves in a situation where they're hit with penalties, interest, and fees, they have to understand, I tell my clients, those are 3 different charges. That's not the same. Each word is a different monetary charge to your account. So penalty, interest, and fees is what you're going to have on your tax return. First thing we do is we take the power of attorney and we see what you can afford. I go through financial statements with my clients. We go through and evaluate your assets, your liabilities, and we make sure we fight for you. I've had the fortunate pleasure of having really good conversation with IRS agents. First off, I'm very humane with them, right?
Yeah, but I think they realize your educational background, all that you have done, so they know they're talking to a peer, not someone like we spoke about before that took a 2-week class and thinks they can prepare taxes. So they have more respect for you.
Well, with the IRS agents, first off, they're pretty disgruntled, right? So I find a very good commonality with them where I believe in saying, hey, let's talk about this. And I go through the actual moment of downsizing. If they can't afford to pay, there's options if you can't afford to pay your debt.
Okay.
You don't have to be cornered and feel pressured. Yeah.
Okay, very good. I can't believe that the first half of the show is gone. I'm breaking into a sweat. This whole tax thing has me nervous, and I didn't do anything wrong. Oh my goodness. But before we do cut to that break, in the first half, share your website, your address, your phone number with the listeners on iHeart.
Yes. So our website is taxhavenusa.org. And we are at 130 South Indian River Drive, Suite 202, Room 222, Fort Pierce, Florida, 34958.
Very good. And then did you say your phone number?
My phone number is 772-584-5844.
Very good. And with that, we have a lot more to discuss. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Is your pool losing its cool and its water? Don't let your money drain into the dirt. At Leak Seekers FLA, we'll find and repair your pool leak fast. Visit leakseekersfla.com. Not just leaks, but resurfacing, equipment, and more. leakseekersfla.com. Let us take a peek and find the pool leak.
Vero Beach is out and alive. Music's playing, people are dancing, the dance floor's packed. It's the Sunset Saturday Concert. Fun and free for all on Ocean Drive. With live music by Riptide, food, wine, and beer. Presented by GHO Homes, Vero Beach Chamber of Commerce, Orlando Health, and Sandpiper Pest Control. The Sunset Saturday Concert. Saturday, March 14th at 5 p.m. at Hummiston Park on Ocean Drive, Vero Beach. Now that's the life.
Are you a therapist or a nurse seeking the multi-state compact license? In the state of Florida, these and many other industries require a Level 2 live scan background check for clearance to work in your industry. A1A Fingerprints is your certified live scan source from Broward to Brevard. And if you're a medical provider, you need to be registered on the ACA web portal. A1A Fingerprints will help you navigate and comply with the law. Call 772-494-6556 or visit A1AFingerprints.com. A1A Fingerprints.
The rock opera that still shakes the stage. Raw emotion and an electrifying score that defined a generation. Jesus Christ Superstar. The last week of Jesus' life, told entirely through iconic rock music. Feel it. Believe it. Live it. It's now playing at Vero's beautiful Riverside Theater. Get your best tickets now at the box office or riversidetheater.com.
Evergreen Media is your go-to for podcasting. Business owners, boost your brand by educating clients with your own show. Just show up. We handle everything else. Get your custom video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and more. Start today at egreenmedia.com.
Welcome back to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and I'm with Gregory Simpson of Tax Haven USA, and we're talking about our favorite topic this time of year, tax preparation. Yay! Okay. So now I spoke about, we have on the Treasure Coast a lot of small business, owners, the mom and pops and small and medium-sized businesses, and we have a lot of solopreneurs, like myself. Okay, so now what proactive strategies, financial strategies, tax strategies should these groups be implementing year-round?
So if you're talking about being a sole proprietor, and oftentimes if you're not set up as a corporation, a S corporation, or a multi-member LLC partnership, you're going to be on Schedule C.
Okay.
Now, the main thing with that is, how can we actually bring quality to your life? So there are certain things that sole proprietors don't understand, like, for example, health insurance. So if you're a sole proprietor and you have health insurance, that's an above-the-line deduction. You get the chance to deduct some of the premiums as a sole proprietor, self-employed individual.
I bring that form in.
Absolutely.
Yes, I do.
You're daggone right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's things as far as, a self-involved 401k where you have your own 401k. You can do your retirement, or SEP.
SEP.
So these are things that solo proprietors can do, and also you can't forget the obvious, which is estimated taxes. So every April, June, September, and January 15th, there's estimated taxes that one should pay. And the reason why I sit down with my clients, because every quarter we go over the valuation of it to see how much money they made. And we actually pay in advance to the IRS, because what that does, that reduces the shock factor. Right.
Yes.
Because, as a self-employed individual, you're going to be taxed at 15.3% self-employment tax, but it's 15.3% on 92.35% of your income. So it's not 100% of your income.
Okay.
However, it can come out to be substantial.
Yeah.
So once again, we come up with these implement strategies where it's like, okay, let's do, for example, estimated taxes. Let's get your retirement accounts set up. Let's look and see if there are some purchases that instead of taking one lump sum, we can do depreciation where we spread it out over time periods. So that way it actually gives you deductions consistently for several years in advance. Okay. So these are just a minute few things that we do. And our clients appreciate it because, you have a lot of working class people that don't have health insurance and they think they can afford it, but you can, and it's a deduction.
Yeah. Oh, health insurance. Don't even get me started on that subject, right? Okay, so now services. Now the spotlight is on Tax Haven USA.
Yes.
So talk about now the services that you offer and how you work with people.
So the services that we offer is both for individual and for small businesses. So the way this process goes is through a discovery phase. Okay. And with our discovery phase, my beautiful wife, who is like my spine. I can't, my spine and my neck, I can't maneuver without her. Okay. Yeah. Without her, there would be no Tax Haven, as well as Samuel McDuffie as well. But she sets up the actual 30-minute free consultations. We give everyone a 30-minute free consultation. We do it either through a Teams meeting or they come into the office. We sit down and we just have an open discussion. What's your fears? What's your concerns? We do free looks over your previous year's tax returns to see, okay, did you leave money on the table? Was there a wrong position that was taken by the last preparer, and whether or not you need to do an amendment? So these are the things that we do, and once we come up to terms and we agree on what type of tax preparation you need, then like I said, we talk about the fees, $250 for individuals, $350 for small businesses, which the majority of times are sole proprietors. And they're like, is that it? Like, yeah, that's it. We're not here to get rich. We're here to try to steer people from the bad tax preparers and provide good service. I want to protect the community, because when people get audited, that's children being impacted. That's family wealth being impacted. That's mom and dad's house be having a lien against them.
Right.
That's supposed to be your inheritance.
The financial setbacks.
Yes.
It's the emotional upsetment.
Yes.
And then it hits your pocketbook.
Yeah.
And then it can affect the future until you get yourself out of that situation.
Yeah, folks don't understand. Social Security wages can't be garnished.
Oh,
It's
I didn't
not
realize.
protected.
Okay.
So these things are things that we want to sit down and we want to talk to people and let them see us, and we see them, and we build a relationship. It's about relationship and trust. And if it can't be done, I'm very blunt. I'm very blunt with them. I'm not doing it.
Right.
You know,
We
we're
mentioned
not-
we talked about that during the commercial break, that there are people that come in and they're like, yeah, I'm self-employed, and I just don't, I have all of these expenses, and they're trying to justify their trip to the south of France, but yet they're a plumber. It's like, how did that trip become a deductible item?
Right.
I can understand if you're a travel agent.
Right.
Then maybe. But yeah, so you've actually said to people, this isn't for me, right?
No.
Okay, because you
absolutely.
don't want to work with fraudulent people.
Well, I'm here to represent people before the IRS.
Yeah.
With my background, my licenses, I'm held at the highest caliber of ethical positions. So, and also too as well, that's something that we're open year round. So our clients contact us not just we just don't stick around for tax season and we're closed.
Yeah.
We're open 365. And we always tell our clients, before you take a position, before you do something, call me so we can make sure that we have preventative methods, or we can make sure that you're going to make a better choice. So if you're a plumber, no, you can't take that trip to the south of France, because the IRS US 26 code says that if you can take a domestic trip for continued education, then that domestic trip is what the write-off is supposed to be for. We're not going to take international trips just for the sake of international, because they've been around the block. They've seen it all, right?
Yeah.
So we got to prevent you from harming yourself when it comes down to tax preparation. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they could go to the south of France for fun, but don't try to put it into their whole tax situation.
Right.
And then, so that's another good thing to mention is, as a person is growing and scaling their business, then they should be what? Cindy, no, there's more time. We are almost out of time. So that is interesting. So as people are growing and scaling their business, they should be touching base with you for the tax guidance and things like that.
Yeah. So one last success story where we dealt. We just recently had a client that they owned an electrical company here in the local area, and they ended up owing the IRS $159,000 because they gave their CPA during COVID their tax returns and never filed. So I had to do 6 years of tax preparation. And they did really well as electricians, but where they were those past 6 years is not where they are now. So the husband is under medication, having seizures. He can't work. The wife is disabled. She's on Social Security. And the IRS was putting a lien on their house and looking to levy their house and the property next to them where their family stayed in, where their grandchildren and their children stayed in. And we were able to save them from $159,000 debt, where I got them in a status called non-collectible status. They don't have to pay the IRS as long as they remain in compliance for the next 10 years. The house wasn't taken. Their Social Security is not being garnished. The husband is able to make sure that he's able to get his medication. And that's the type of stuff that we do. And, that's who we are. We want to help. We want to provide not just tax preparation, but a tax haven for everyone that comes through our door.
So, all right. So we only have a few seconds. So what is your phone number? What is your website? What is your address?
Gregory Simpson, taxhavenusa.org is the website. My phone number is 772-584-8255. and our address is 130 South Indian River Drive, Suite 202, Room 222, Fort Pierce, Florida 32958, Tax Haven USA, LLC.
Well, this was the most important show. I think it's going to be of the whole year, Cindy. And with that, my name is Ellen Contreras, Treasure Coast Connector. Until next week, I miss you already.